How far would you go to prove a point? My wife made me go through a traumatic experience on her own, so I wanted her to hurt too. About 7 months ago, I had a massive stroke while I was at work. I was rushed to the hospital, which was fortunately close by. I woke up once they managed to stabilize my condition. I asked the nurse for my wife, and she explained how my wife said she wasn't going to be able to come to the hospital. She asked me for a different emergency contact, and I told her that I only had my wife. She gave me a sad smile and handed over my phone before walking off to do her rounds. I called my wife, and she picked up, asking how I was doing. I told her to come over and check for herself how I was doing. She laughed, thinking I was joking, and said, "You know I can't. I have a girls' trip planned today, and I absolutely cannot miss my flight. In fact, I'm at the airport right now." She sent over pictures of her and her friends posing in front of the gate. I scoffed in disbelief that she prioritized a girl's trip over her own husband's condition. To make matters worse, my wife then proceeded to ask me to send her a bit of extra cash to help buy souvenirs. I hung up the phone and sighed, too exhausted to get angry. I took another nap and woke up to call a friend for help with leaving the hospital. After a few days, my wife arrived home and immediately started calling me rude for hanging up on her and for not answering any of her calls while she was out on a trip. She nagged that, "I'm lucky that your credit card was still working. There was one moment where a store didn't take card, and I tried to call you to ask for money to withdraw at the ATM, but you didn't respond. I had to ask a friend to pitch in for me. So embarrassing." I rolled my eyes while she continued to rant about the trip she used to ditch me. After a few minutes, I got fed up and told her that maybe she could at least try to care about my condition a bit. She paused and eyed me from head to toe before saying, "You seem perfectly fine, and that hospital thing was a few days ago." I couldn't believe the audacity and told her not to talk to me. The rest of the week, I slept on the couch, rethinking things between us. I was more hurt that she couldn't care less about my condition compared to my money, but I also knew that she originally married me for my money in the first place. But I wanted her to care. So while she was asleep one night, I snuck out and cut the brake line of her car. I also bypassed the dashboard to make sure that the warning lights in her car wouldn't turn on. The following day, my wife went out and had a terrible accident on the highway when her brakes suddenly failed. She recovered at the hospital and tried to call me for help and comfort, but I simply told her that I was busy at work. She started crying, calling me petty. I told her that if she maybe apologized for ditching me, I might show up. She stopped crying and got angry instead, saying that her car accident was more critical than my stroke. I was stunned at her lack of empathy and laughed, saying bye before hanging up. An hour later, she called me again with a shaking voice, asking me to go to the hospital because the credit card I gave her declined, and her car insurance company said that they wouldn't cover any of the costs. Apparently, they noticed that the car was tampered with and accused my wife of trying an insurance fraud scam. She panicked, unable to piece together that I was the one who caused the car's brake failure. I shook my head and told her to stay at the hospital for one more night. At home, I spent time laughing and dancing around the house, feeling happy that I got away with my revenge. All night, she kept ringing up my phone, looking for me desperately. In the morning, I finally showed up at the hospital and took her home. Since then, she has been sweeter and more appreciative of me.